Well, fortunately in Sonoma County and quite a few counties now around the state, and this is getting to be something that's happening nationwide, people realize that kids were being traumatized and being forced to tell their story, especially about something very intimate and very private and involving oftentimes people that are very close to them, can be hugely traumatic when they have to repeat it. First they told their teacher, now they have to tell their mom, now they have to tell the police officer, now they tell the detective, and now they tell the DA. You know, it goes on. And what they were finding, especially with younger kids, is that the more times they were telling the story, they'd either remember something or forget something. And then looking at it later, it's like, well, she told you this and you this. Is she lying? Is something else going on? So what we do is, once we receive notice that there's been some sort of disclosure, so whether that be a child to a doctor or a teacher or their parents, we'll bring them to a place called the Family Justice Center. And the Family Justice Center is actually where I work out of, but it's basically a building that houses a bunch of nonprofit groups. The sex crimes detectives for the police department and the sheriff's department are there. There's district attorneys there whose only job is to prosecute these types of cases. And all of the, like I said, all the nonprofits and advocacy groups are there too. So any type of counseling, therapy services, resources for housing if needed, they're all located in this one place. So they'll be brought there, and then the child will be brought in for an interview with a forensic interviewer. So it's a specially trained interviewer who's not a police officer, who's not somebody in uniform. It's typically a social worker who's been trained to interview kids that have been through some sort of trauma or some sort of been victimized, and they'll sit one-on-one with the child and interview them. And myself and an advocate and the district attorney and sometimes CPS, whoever else needs to be aware of what's going on, will sit on the other side of the two-way mirror. So that child gets interviewed one time. The interviewer wears a little earpiece, so if we have another question, we can ask the interviewer without it being as awkward for the child to be interviewed by all these different people when we come up with different questions. So we take a lot of painstaking steps to make sure that a child, especially a child who's been a victim, is not re-victimized by the system. Because ultimately, you know, it's that interview is going to be huge in this case. And then afterwards or during, an advocate with a sexual assault group, and then whoever else the family may need, will be meeting with the parents. Typically, it depends on the situation, of course, but those services will be provided at that exact time. So it's a great system. The disadvantages kind of depends. For me, one of the biggest disadvantages is probably having to juggle the on-call time. Right now we have 5 detectives in my unit, which is nice. We previously only had 4, so every 5 weeks right now I'm on call for a week. However, if something happens and there is a call, oftentimes we always need help. So somebody's going to come help, or I'm going to go help somebody, even if it's not my on-call week. And so having to explain that to the family or miss family time or friend time. I don't actually remember what having friends and going out on a weekend is like anymore. So that's definitely a disadvantage. And then being exposed to the types of crimes that we have to investigate is a huge disadvantage, I think. A lot of times we can go through life and kind of block out some of the things. We all know certain things happen, and we know whether we experience them or have friends or see it on the news, but to see it every day and day in and day out. And then I would say that we as police officers, not just detectives, always deal with kind of the very, very small segment of society that is violating the law or doing bad things. And it can be hard to remember that the majority of people are not like that. And so that's definitely hard to do. I think if somebody has an interest in being in law enforcement in any capacity, whether that be as an officer with Santa Rosa Police or as a federal agent with the FBI, I think one of the biggest things you can do is continue with your education. Like for you guys, going to school and getting that formal education, however you do that, is crucial. It's very competitive to get hired. When I was hired, there were over 1,000 applicants, and they hired 10 of us. So somehow you have to stand out. So whether that be formal education or military or both, or some type of life experience that's going to make you stand out and say, I can do this job, I can communicate with people. I think that would be absolutely key, but I think education is really, really important. And then honestly, I think just some life experience is also important. If the only life experience somebody has is living with their parents, that it's hard to go from that to all of a sudden you're on the street as a patrol officer and you're trying to solve somebody's domestic dispute that's been ongoing for 20 years. So you have to have something that you can draw on. Not that you're going to tell people that you deal with as a patrol officer your personal experience or your personal life story, but just having a little bit of knowledge about how the world works, I think is huge.
Hi, my name is Carla Ramirez.
Hi, my name is David Garcia.
Hi, my name is Alan Torres.
Hi, my name is Jose Mendoza.
Hi, my name is Genesia Casa.
Hi, my name is Crystal Garcia. Hi, my name is Dejana Sandoval.